I dreamed about this my whole life, walking on Mars. When we finally landed, our crew knew we'd be setting foot where no human had ever stepped. The Martian landscape was a world frozen in desolation, with endless red dust, rocky ridges, and eerie silence. I was assigned to help set up the outpost satellite connection while my teammates worked on equipment checks back at the shuttle. It was late afternoon by the time I finished, and the Martian sun cast a faint orange glow across the horizon. Out of nowhere, my helmet's radio crackled. Static hissed and popped, followed by something that sent chills down my spine, a faint, hollow voice whispering my name. I froze, trying to convince myself it was just the wind or a trick of the radio, but then it whispered again. Evelyn. At first, I thought it was one of my teammates playing a prank. All right, guys, very funny, I said, masking my unease with a laugh. No response. I switched channels, trying to get through to someone, anyone, but all I heard was that whisper, growing louder and more desperate. Evelyn! Help! I decided to head back to the shuttle, ignoring the nagging feeling that I was being watched. My heart pounded as I shuffled across the Martian soil, and the whispers followed me, growing louder with every step. I quickened my pace, nearly tripping over rocks as the whispers transformed into frantic pleas. Help me, Evelyn, please! Finally, I reached the shuttle's airlock and burst inside, ripping off my helmet and gasping for air. I radioed my team, but all I got was silence. The shuttle was empty, no crew, no lights, just an eerie metallic hum echoing through the cabin. Panic set in. Where was everyone? Then I noticed the cockpit screen flickering, displaying a looping message. Evelyn, stay away from the sands. I backed away, my heart racing as a strange vibration shook the shuttle. Looking out the small window, I saw a strange figure in the distance, standing perfectly still. It was humanoid, but translucent, like it was made of dust and shadows. As I watched, the figure began to sink, slowly vanishing into the sand. The whispers turned to screams, and then silence. I blinked, and the landscape was empty once more. No trace of the figure, no sign of my crew. To this day, I don't know if it was a hallucination or if something ancient and unspeakable exists beneath the sands of Mars, whispering to those who dare to set foot on its desolate plains. I only know one thing. Mars may be a barren planet, but it's far from lifeless.
The mission was simple. Approach and study the edges of the newly discovered black hole, codenamed Oblivion, located at the far reaches of our galaxy. Our ship, the Vanguard, was equipped with top-of-the-line navigation systems, designed to withstand the gravitational pull of stars and cosmic phenomena. But as we neared Oblivion, everything we knew, everything we trusted, began to fall apart. I was on the night shift, monitoring sensor data when the ship's AI, usually silent and precise, began acting up. It was a soft static at first, barely noticeable, but soon it grew louder, filling the entire cabin with a distorted, hollow sound, almost like a voice. I leaned in, trying to make out the words, but they were too garbled. Just as I was about to alert my team, the voice crystallized, clear as day. Help! Me, please! I spun around, expecting to see a crewmate. But I was alone. Heart pounding, I ran a diagnostic on the communication system, only to discover something impossible. The signal was coming from within the black hole. A human signal. I called my captain, who arrived with a skeptical frown. But as he checked the readings, his face turned pale. We both knew it was impossible for anything to survive within a black hole, let alone send a distress signal. Yet, the voice kept repeating, "Help us, trapped, forever." Like echoes bouncing across time itself. Ignoring all protocol, we launched a probe towards the event horizon to investigate. The moment it crossed the threshold, my console erupted with screams. Hundreds of voices, overlapping, blending, each one crying out in despair. "They're watching us," one voice whispered, tinged with a desperation I'll never forget. "They're waiting." Suddenly, the gravity of Oblivion intensified, pulling the Vanguard closer. Alarms blared as the ship's thrusters struggled against the overwhelming force. My captain ordered an emergency retreat, but as we pulled away, the screaming grew louder, transforming into a monstrous roar that rattled the walls and filled the cabin with an unbearable pressure. And then, as suddenly as it began, the noise stopped. We escaped with seconds to spare. When I checked the console again, there was no record of any transmission, no evidence of the voices, only silence and the faint, impenetrable darkness of the black hole behind us. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I swear I can still hear them. Faint whispers in the silence calling out from Oblivion.